am the Green Arrow.
When James Gunn first announced the plans for his DC Universe reboot, fans were quick to notice which heroes were in the spotlight and which ones weren't. Naturally, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman were given top billing, because it wouldn't feel like a proper DC Universe without the big three. But the thing is, there are a bunch of other Justice League members that audiences want to see, and Oliver Queen, better known as Green Arrow, is definitely one of them. For years, he was left out of the DCEU entirely, even though his character has been a fan favorite on TV shows like Smallville and Arrow. So, when Gunn recently gave an update about whether Green Arrow has a place in the new DCU, fans understandably perked up. Now, the update itself wasn't exactly what people were hoping for. On Peacemaker, the official podcast, Gunn was asked about whether Oliver Queen is canon in his new DC universe. His answer was a little cagey. He basically said, "I don't know. I'm not willing to say yet. We don't really know. We don't have Green Arrow as part of our system right now, so maybe he exists, maybe he doesn't." That's not a hard confirmation or denial, but it shows that Green Arrow isn't currently a priority for Gunn and DC Studios. And honestly, that makes sense, because the franchise is still in its earliest stages. Superman just kicked things off, and Peacemaker Season 2 is now streaming on HBO, so they're clearly focused on setting up the foundation first. But even though Oliver Queen isn't officially part of Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters just yet, that doesn't mean he's gone forever. Gunn even hinted that characters who aren't planned for solo projects could still show up in someone else's story. And if there's any DC hero who would benefit from a guest starring introduction before headlining his own movie, it's Green Arrow. He's a character who works incredibly well bouncing off others because his personality is sharp, witty, and sometimes even a little abrasive. You can easily imagine him making an entrance in another show or film and instantly leaving an impression. One of the most natural places for Green Arrow to show up might actually be HBO's upcoming Green Lantern series. That might surprise some people at first, because Oliver and Hal Jordan don't always get as much mainstream recognition as, say, Batman and Superman. But longtime comic fans know that Green Arrow and Green Lantern have one of the most iconic friendships in DC history. Their dynamic goes all the way back to the 1970s, when Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams wrote the legendary Green Lantern Green Arrow run. That series had the two heroes traveling across America in a beat-up truck, tackling real-world issues like poverty, racism, and corruption. It was gritty, thoughtful, and way ahead of its time. So, if HBO really wants to make the Green Lantern series stand out, adding Oliver Queen could be the perfect way to give it that grounded, socially conscious edge. And the thing is, Oliver doesn't even need to be a regular cast member to make an impact. Imagine Hal Jordan or Jon Stewart trying to save the day in some cosmic-level situation, only to be confronted by Oliver Queen pointing out the human cost of what's happening back on Earth. That kind of clash would not only make for great drama, but would also highlight why Green Arrow is such a unique character in the DC Universe. He's the guy who refuses to let the bigger-than-life heroes forget about everyday people. Even though he's a billionaire, he's always styled himself as a man of the people. And while that contradiction can sometimes feel hypocritical, it also opens the door to some of the most interesting stories about him. Of course, if Gunn ever decides to give Green Arrow his own solo project, fans are hoping it's not just another straightforward origin story. Oliver Queen has been around long enough that the basics of his backstory, stranded on an island, learns archery, becomes a vigilante, are pretty well known. Instead, a movie or series inspired by the Rebirth run could be the way to go. That version showed Oliver as an already established hero, but still struggling with his flaws. He hadn't yet met Black Canary, which could allow for a fun romantic subplot full of banter and tension. You could even build it like a date night gone wrong type of action film, where Oliver and Dinah teams up reluctantly, only to realize they're perfect for each other in all the wrong ways. The villains also matter, and Green Arrow's Rogues Gallery has some underrated gems. Someone like Onomatopoeia, who literally mimics sounds as part of his creepy persona, could bring a whole different vibe to the big screen. Count Vertigo, with his disorienting powers, is another character who could make for some visually stunning sequences. and throwing in Wildcat as a mentor or ally would be a cool nod to the larger DC universe without taking away focus from Oliver. But there's a bigger question hanging over Green Arrow as a character in today's world. Because when you look closely, Oliver's man-of-the-people shtick can feel pretty hollow when you remember he's a billionaire. Critics have often pointed out that unlike Bruce Wayne, Oliver doesn't engage much in philanthropy as Oliver Queen. Instead, he pours all his energy into being Green Arrow, which can come across as hypocritical, especially since his whole identity is built around fighting for social justice and sticking it to the corrupt elite. Modern audiences are more aware of this contradiction than ever, and it could actually be the very thing that makes him compelling in a new adaptation. The Rebirth comics tried to address this problem head-on. In that run, Dinah often challenged Oliver to think harder about what he was really accomplishing, and eventually, Oliver took steps to fix his image by transforming his company into a non-profit and genuinely using his wealth to help people. That story arc gave him a redemption angle that made his character feel more relevant. Including something like that in the DCU could give Green Arrow the kind of depth that makes him resonate with audiences who want heroes that aren't just flashy, but also self-aware. Even though Gunn hasn't committed to Green Arrow yet, you can almost guarantee that Oliver Queen will eventually get his moment in the sun. After all, leaving out someone with such a long history and passionate fanbase would feel like a missed opportunity. And once he does show up, the DCU will also have a chance to bring in the characters around him: Black Canary, Speedy, Emiko, and maybe even his Justice League teammates. That kind of expansion is exactly what Gunn seems to be going for with his interconnected universe. So, what's the most realistic timeline for Green Arrow's arrival? Given how Superman is laying the foundation and Peacemaker Season 2 is keeping the street-level side of the DCU alive, it probably won't be immediate. But if HBO's Green Lantern series hits big, that could be the ideal springboard. Having Oliver appear as a guest star in a couple of episodes would reintroduce him to audiences without the pressure of carrying a whole project right away. Then, once fans are excited again, DC Studios could announce a solo movie or even a team-up project featuring him and Black Canary. At the end of the day, James Gunn's comments don't mean Green Arrow is being ignored forever. They just mean it's too early to make promises. And honestly, that might be for the best. Because when Oliver Queen finally does make his DCU debut, fans want it to be done right. If Gunn takes cues from the Rebirth run, leans into Oliver's flaws as much as his strengths, and maybe even uses Green Lantern as the entry point, and that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.